Hi there, welcome on this YouTube channel. It's the first video I ever made. If you like it, please subscribe. I intend to make a whole lot more videos on music production and classic gear. The reason I wanted to make this video is this drum machine I purchased recently. I saw there wasn't much about the machine on YouTube, so I decided to make a video about it. It's a DDrumAT and it's made by the Swedish company Clavia. Nowadays Clavia is especially known for their synthesizers, but it started out as a company that made drum machines. The DDrumAT was made in 1990. All the D-drum machines produced during the 80s and early 90s share an 8-bit 32 kHz sample technology, which give them a rough character. This is still very popular in music styles like techno and house. The DDrumAT sounds crunchy and rough, but also powerful and warm. This is because of the technique that is deployed. A sound is generated by playing the same sample twice but with slightly different settings. This makes that it sounds like a real drum. This is also the way it was intended. It's a live device to replace an acoustic drum kit. This makes it a completely different machine as the Lindrum, Oberheim and Roland machines that were developed in the same time. Not only does the DDrumAT lack a sequencer, the machine doesn't also have cymbal or hi-hat samples. The idea was drummers could play kick, snare and toms and other percussion sounds electronically and had an acoustic set of hi-hats and cymbals in their setup. This was a very common way of working in that era. Simmons, Tama and Pearl machines, which didn't contain samples but produced synthesized drum sounds, didn't have hat or cymbal sounds either. Working with the DDrumAT is easy. With the big knob in the middle you can adjust all parameters. The machine also has a decent mixer section for volume control but also for panning and EQ. The machine has 8 individual outputs, but you don't really need them all. Some of the samples contain reverb. It's easy to make a fairly good sounding mix by using these samples and just as 2 stereo outs. An excellent feature on the D-drum is the way you can bend over time, especially for toms that have a tendency to sound on a higher pitch at the end of the sound than at the beginning. This makes it really sound natural and like acoustic drums. Listen to it. Now it's bending down, but now it's bending up. You can also adjust the bending time. In conjunction with the decay, this is a really useful feature. One of my favorite samples is the kick at 7.13, which is a sound made by Bay Pace, who was a famous house producer in the beginning of the 90s, and it's a really fat sounding kick drum. Of course, with the EQ settings, you can add some extra character to it, especially if you also crank up the treble, it gets a really fat sounding kick. What's really nice is to bend it down a bit, like for example on 5 with a very short bend time. And of course you can experiment a little bit where you find the proper kick. In this video, all sounds come directly from the DDrumAT with no additional effects or processing. I prepared some drum loops to give an idea of what this machine is capable of. I started out with a house/disco beat. Now let's listen to a hip hop beat. In this beat, I really miss a hi-hat and a cymbal sound. Therefore, I added hi-hats and cymbal from a Roland TR-707. I chose these sounds because they are time consistent with the technology used in the D-drum. Let's hear the house beat again. And here's the hip-hop beat with added hats. Here's the D-drum and the 707 playing Smells Like Teen Spirit. The DDrumAT is a great sounding machine, which can be used for different styles, like house or techno or hip-hop, and of course for retro styles, like Italo or synthwave. And even though it's 30 years old, it's still great fun to have one lying around, to play with it and to record it. There's also a big miss though, and that's the lack of cymbals and hi-hat. Music just sounds worse without them. These machines sell for about €250. At that price point, it's great fun to have one around and use it to play and record. This was my first video. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it.